What's going on? Legion Nuda here playing more RuneScape Dragonwilds. Welcome to our Daily Gaming XP Grind episode 43. What we're going to be working on? That was weird noise. I don't even know if the mic picked it up. But anyways, we're going to be working on cooking a little bit as we've been doing quite a bit behind the scenes. So we've actually been killing quite a bit of creatures. Just sort of farming resources so that way we can level up our cooking. And I got my cooking potion activated, and a large reason for this is that in case anything gets done while I'm looking, I guess that's it. So cooking XP is going to come incredibly slow. I would normally put this in my regular food chest, but ultimately I don't want to put the stuff that's in my inventory slots in there as well. That's on my 1 and 2 slot. So let's go ahead and do an XP update, as we have been doing quite a bit behind the scenes. So 273,000 attack XP, woodcutting 827,000 XP, construction 2,004,000, rune crafting 475,000, magic 53,420. So we've been working on this primarily while killing all the creatures. Mining 4,051,000, artisan 3,653,000, and cooking 178,540. So what we're going to be doing in this video is a little bit of forest clearing, and we've already started over here. It's hard to tell, but we've been chopping out a lot of the trees. We don't really want to have a bunch of extra, but we're just going to focus on certain areas. So I'm probably going to leave this, but I am going to get rid of all of this. So we're actually going to have to go back in and grab a wood cutting potion. And the reason I want to sort of do this is that I've got quite a bit built over here, and I'm not quite sure if the less trees there are, the faster it's actually gonna load the game in. I'm not sure. What's these other green ones? So I think we'll just bring these just because. But ultimately, we want to sort of start clearing the forest, and the reason for this is, one, I had mentioned potentially the game loading in a little bit better, right? And that's not even a huge part of it. What it's really going to come down to is we're sort of wanting to get a lot of wood cutting XP, but at the same time, I really want to focus on sort of changing the game for myself. And once I kill the roots here, then the stumps, they're no longer going to grow back. And I think that there's plenty of wood in the game. And I've already also got a lot of the XP that's going to probably be required for level 99. And once Fell Hollow comes to the game, then it's going to give us all new trees. So I'm not going to completely leave myself in a horrible situation where potentially I need ash logs and then I'm not going to be able to get any. So we're going to be a little bit strategic about this, because we ultimately don't want to leave ourselves in a position where we no longer can even get trees. But we do want to sort of change the way the game looks. And because there's no new content currently right now that we can actually work on, this allows us to get woodcutting XP and at the same time sort of change the way the entire game looks, if you think about it. Because once you get rid of the trees, you're gonna have a completely different look on the game itself, and everything, the way it looks. So we got to get rid of this root. But I just think it'd be really cool. You're almost essentially creating another world when you do this. You're basically going to be like looking at a different Ashenfall. So we're actually quite excited about this project, and that's exactly what we needed, was another project that we could start working on whilst waiting for Range and Fell Hollow to come together. Wow. So whilst waiting for Fell Hollow and Range to come to the game. And I'm not sure if they're going to be releasing new monsters with Range. Hopefully they do, but I haven't seen a lot of discussion on it. I just know that they said that when Range comes to the game, that they're going to be introducing other things as well. So what that sort of means, I'm not entirely sure, and I'm pretty sure nobody's really sure. So we're just going to have to kind of wait for that. But that's really not that far away. So we're really looking forward to that, as it will give us another skill to start working on and putting XP in. And then after that, what's it, September 9th, right? So October, November, December. So about 3 months after that, then we're really going to see Fell Hollow. And I think that's really going to change the game a lot. So we're quite excited about that as well. But all we can really do is keep working on our XP grind and our road to max. That's really what the goal is, and it's pretty much always been the goal since I picked up the game. I couldn't wait to start leveling up my skills and just exploring and experiencing all the different things that the game has to offer. So this, it's interesting. I just had the idea to do this, but it's not the first time someone's done it. A while back when the game first came out, somebody was working on woodcutting heavily, and they were posting their different things on Facebook, and it was actually quite crazy because they actually wiped out like a good portion of the game. They were using like a red indicator to show what they have already cleared. But the only problem with that was that person did not know that those trees, once you clear the stumps, that they're not going to grow back. So hopefully he, didn't get rid of all his trees in the entire game. I'm sure that if you wipe out all the trees in the entire game, there you'd have quite a bit of wood, but at the same time, I don't think it would be enough to get. I mean, I think he said that he was about at 1 million XP in wood cutting, and I'm not sure how far he was at that point. So, but ultimately, you don't want to completely leave yourself with no trees. Not a good idea. So we got a goblin over there. Hopefully, he doesn't try to mess with us as we're trying to focus on this. But obviously, wood cutting is one of those things that we've been trying to sort of knock off the list, and it just takes time. And we really don't need any more logs, but we are going to start holding on to some because I know we're trying to get our artisan to 4 million XP, but we're just going to use ash planks for that. So we don't really need to use any more ash logs to make any more planks, I don't think. So what we're going to be doing is we're just going to save a lot of ash logs, and if we ever need them for another project in the future, we'll sort of have them lying around. I don't think it's a bad thing to sort of have a couple thousand, maybe 50,000 or whatever it might be, ash logs just sort of sitting around. But we got lots of work to do, and that's what we're doing right now. So we're just grinding this wood cutting XP, which is extremely slow XP, but by the time we're done, we should easily be able to go back and gather all the different things that we leveled up with our cooking stations. So hopefully that log stops, and it did. And we got to actually re-up our wood cutting potion. So let's go ahead and do that really quick. We actually got to make more wood cutting potions as well. It's so hard not to just want to cut everything and sort of just pick up everything, and it's crazy. It's just like RuneScape. You sort of got this idea in your head, and you want to ultimately get everything you can in the game. So it's quite crazy. Anybody who played RuneScape or grinds, they completely understand that when you see certain things, your brain instinctively is just doesn't want to leave those resources behind. But I mean, you obviously can't grab everything at all at once. So we're gonna have to use our personal storage chest now, as we've got way too much. But it's still full of these ash planks. Those things have been in there for a ridiculous amount of time. It's actually kind of irritating. So let's go ahead and take care of that really quick. We're wasting our wood cutting potion. I can't even recall how you make another wood cutting potion. So I'm gonna have to look into it. It's probably nothing crazy. Probably something we already have for sure. So let's go ahead and empty our storage chest really quick, and then we're probably going to look what it's going to require to do that so we can get started on it. So let's go look really quick here. We got our recipes, our potions, and it looks like we've got feathers. Oh my gosh, that's not good. Ow. I don't know if I'm being hunted or he should have just got in here. Oh, he destroyed some things. They all destroyed some things. That's great. So it looks like I was just being hunted. Oh no, it's the whole war band. That's great. So that's wave number 1. So let's go ahead and grab some feathers and then drop them in here. And then while we take care of the other part of the war band, we can then get back to what we were doing. It's unfortunate. I wish you got like Hublot experience or something. But I know that they want to slowly introduce skills into the game to keep it fresh, which I completely agree with. But certain different things. Maybe like for now, since there is no Hublor, maybe we could get cooking XP when we make potions. I think that would be quite nice. But ultimately, we've emptied our inventory and now we can get back to wood cutting. So let's go do that. But first, we got to take this ridiculous army of goblins. It's so ridiculous, so not fair. So many of them. Obviously, it's not really that big of a deal. It's just more so outrageous that they would send this kind of an army potentially to someone's base. That's crazy. It's good for attack XP though. I know that we were recently focusing on range. What's going on here? Nature runes? We don't have enough. So we better go fix this really quick before we start getting back to what we're doing, as that's a very important spell. So let's go ahead and take a look. There we go. I'm not even sure why I didn't have enough runes. It looks like we're actually missing some runes. Interesting. Quite a few, actually. I'm not even sure which one it was. We'll fix it later, because we're wood cutting right now. But we're making a change to the game. A rather heavy change. I mean, there are trees everywhere, so it's not the end of the world. But we are changing the experience we are going to be having in the game. Without all these trees here, the sun's going to hit different. Basically, everything is going to hit different, and I'll be able to see a lot more of the landscape. So that's another reason I'm really interested in doing this as well. You're basically changing the way that you sort of look at the game. Already you can see it's a little bit different. So the only thing is we're going to have to come back, and any logs we decide to sort of leave on the ground, we're going to have to come back and cut all those. So I guess we want to sort of gauge how far we go and not cut down more than we need to, because otherwise we're just going to have trees lying all over the ground, and that's already a problem in certain areas for me, and I actually don't really like that. I don't just like trees all over the ground. So there's certain areas where I've done this and I really regret it, and it's just sort of a problem right now. I sort of want to go kill those rats too. This is not good. I need to stay focused, but it's really hard because rats give different resources that I actually rather like to get. I've actually got my a bunch of leather inside those crafting stations as well. It'd be quite nice to get started on that as well. I accidentally drank the wrong one. So let's see. Just go ahead and get these two like this. That's what I don't want. All those rounds just sort of rolling down by my base. But it's okay. What we actually want to do is that rat's gone. I'm not going to chase them up. What I actually want to do is I'm going to leave those there and I'll get them later. But see how much wood cutting XP, 830,000. So we still have a ridiculous amount to go, 170,000 wood cutting XP. It just takes time, especially after they nerf the skill, pretty much a little bit after release. So, but that's okay. It's alright. You just got to grind it out, and that's what it's all about. Is this an actual tree in the ground? It is, okay. But you can see the shade here. I think that's because of the mountain. So even if I cut these trees down, I don't think it's really going to change much. But let's go ahead and see. So it actually changed quite a bit. It completely lit up that path right there. It's not really like this crazy huge deal. It's just sort of cool that when you change the landscape of the game, it really allows you to create. So it's not really just a survival game. It's a lot more than that. It sort of becomes your own world that you can shape. So I know that there's a lot of different survival games out there, but I'm not sure how many of them that you sort of like. The trees not growing back is actually massive. And when I first found out about it, I was actually really shocked and sort of disappointed. But now that I actually see the potential for what it can create and what it can allow you to create, it sort of adds a completely different vibe to the game. So we're really actually excited about that. And it actually potentially might actually reduce the lag when loading into this area, which isn't the end of the world. But at the same time, it can take a little bit of stress potentially off the game, or the strain it might be putting on my overall experience. So if that's the case, I think that's like a win-win for me. I'm getting to sort of get all this woodcutting experience, and at the same time, I'm also creating a better experience for me overall while I play the game. And you can actually already see, look at all those resources that I guess I'm too far from when I run over there. But you can actually see the difference it's already making. It's sort of literally creating a different landscape in the game, and it's sort of a different look. So it's actually quite exciting. The only problem is at some point I'm gonna have to go back and pick up all these logs that I've sort of left on the ground. I guess we could work on a little bit of magic XP while we're out here. We just got to be careful too because we're doing so many different things, and then our inventory can only hold so much. So we got to be very careful about that. But I don't know. We're enjoying RuneScape Dragonwilds, and it's been a blast to be honest. So we intend to keep on playing and keep on making content and working towards our ultimate goal. We got to pick this stuff up eventually. We really don't like just things lying all over the ground like that, but we just sort of haven't got to it. I mean, that's been there since I basically started the game. I started making all these shields, and I don't really know what the thought process behind it was. But now I've broken my axe. I've got to go fix it really quick. So I guess I'll grab a little bit of stuff before I go empty out my inventory because it's also sort of full, just not even from logs. So, but how cool. Like, I'm changing the landscape of the game, and I think it's really awesome. There's other areas I'd like to do it as well. Now that I've already sort of built all the bases that I want, it's sort of different, right? We're not going for the same things we were before. So, although important, it's still a little bit different. And then I mean that in basically the fact that normally you could sit and wipe out the whole forest, and then you could use that forest to essentially build this massive base. But that's not really what we're doing anymore. So, but nonetheless, I think it's still really cool. So we're gonna go to sleep really quick, actually, and then we're gonna wake up. We're gonna grab all that stuff from the cooking. I actually sort of blew it right there because I should have actually started all of my artisan stuff. I've got a lot of hides I've put in there, so I didn't do that. Let's see. So that's not very much cooking XP. 1686. It's just a really slow go. That's all it really is. It's just going to take a long time, and we're going to have lots of food. But it's not really necessarily a bad thing because when you really think about it, once the new Fella Hollow comes to the game, you got to imagine that there's going to be a ridiculous amount of creatures and new things to do, and those are all going to be creating an opportunity to sort of experience different things. So I think that that's going to require a lot of food because you're going to be fighting all these really high level creatures. Um, and you're going to be out in the terrain for a really long time. So that's going to require you to basically have food to be away from a base and things like that. So you're going to need all that to sort of stay alive, or actually hydrate yourself slash feed yourself. So I think it's actually going to work out quite nice. So this is why it's better too. If you're hunting animals and all the trees are gone, you can see a lot better what you're trying to do. So that was a great example right there, where normally those deer would sort of be hiding behind all this different like trees, right? So now I don't really got to worry about that as much. So let's go ahead and change our potion because we did have that cooking one active, and that's going to give us better wood cutting XP because we didn't switch it in time. So ultimately, there's no real set in stone path about how far we want to get on this project of clearing the forest, but I do want to keep working on it, and it's going to be something that we focus on in our daily episodes. So it's just something to keep in mind. I think it's actually really cool. So we are going to be focusing on this quite a bit. Hopefully, in actually clearing the forests, we can find things in the game that we may never have even seen or just sort of missed because there was so much stuff going on around. And that's really another hope too, is that potentially we find like journals that we haven't gotten yet. I know that there's a lot of different things online which can just tell you where the journals are, but that's not really something that I'm super interested in just going out of my way to do. So I think if anything, it'll be more like I stumble upon it, and I think that's actually way more cool than having to look up a guide to see where they're all at. So I think it's going to be pretty cool to find new ones. Or I know that along my way, I'm going to find some more of the spirits so I can finish the Restless Spirit quest as well, which I have not finished, and I plan to. There's no real rush right now. We've got so much time before the other things come to the game that I think that there's plenty of time to sort of sit back, relax, and do all the things that we want to do in the game. I think there's going to be plenty of time to do that. So, anyways, let's go ahead and go over here. And we're doing actually quite well. We're getting quite a bit of woodcutting XP, and now we've got these big areas with all these trees. So I think we're just going to leave those there, and we can come back for them later when we have our spell active. I think that's probably the better way to do this. So let's go ahead and chop this. We got to be careful. There's a ridiculous amount of coal on the ground in there. Look at it. The whole floor is literally covered in it. That's crazy. But that's all artisan XP. That is wild. That is just so wild, to be honest. But we really don't want to get that right now, as one, it'll fill up our whole inventory, and two, we really want to make sure that we have a artisan potion active when we do that. That's really going to be the most effective to get the best XP out of that. So we're just working our way now, destroying all the forest. I wonder if this tree gets cut down, is it going to get the shade away? Because you could see it was really hard to see that coal. Let's see what it does. Though it might be these two trees right here. And I know we're destroying some oak trees, and these are kind of important, but I'm pretty sure maples or something, willows are going to be in the new one, so, Fell Hollow. So I don't necessarily know how important these are going to be, but like I said, we're going to be keeping all of our logs anyway. So I think we're going to have plenty to do whatever we might need to do in the next expansion. So we're not too worried about it. I think it's going to be quite cool to sort of just clear out all the area. And I mean, you can already see, I'm able to see this deer, which I already mentioned earlier. Let's see if I can get him from this far. No, it does not look like it. So let's try to get a little closer. There we go. If we get too close, he's going to see us, or I don't know how they do it, but they just sort of run. And that's really not what we want. There's another one. I don't even know where he came from. Sometimes the spawning in this game is actually really ridiculous. Creatures just sort of pop out of thin air. It's quite interesting. But yes, I think clearing all this is going to allow us to see the game in a completely different way. And potentially see things that we might have missed before. So I think that's also quite exciting. But we've done a great job right here of just clearing all this out. I actually miss Velgar a lot. I know a lot of people were complaining about him, and yes, he was a little bit much. But now that he's gone, I just sort of miss him. So let's go ahead and pick all this up, and then we're going to work our way over here and start getting rid of all this forest as well. I never did find out what those tornadoes were over there in the air. Maybe we'll check them out. They might just be fires, and it's sort of like the smoke coming up. I'm not sure. But that's kind of crazy if it's just a fire. I'm not sure. This is a problem, though, that I stated before. Look how cool those red berries look on a tree. I mean, I do have a really good graphics card, though, so it doesn't really surprise me. I still just think it's something cool to sort of take in, and the graphics are actually really good. So I think that's pretty awesome that we get to have that. There we go. I just killed that little kebbit. You know, also, if you're looking for a lot of kebbits, I found some earlier, and they were just in this outrageous amount. That's right. They are up here, this area here. There's a certain spot. I'll actually go there in a minute so I can show you. I mean, there's lots of different ways to get coarse animal fur if you're looking for it, but I think, I mean, I don't know, kebbits, they're sort of scattered throughout the game, and I did find an area that seems to have quite a bit of them, but I still think the bird's nests are going to be your best option, and also chests. But I don't really think it was. I think it's less in the vaults. You're gonna get different things in the vault ones, but more in the chests that are outside and just the surrounding areas of Ashenfall. That seems to be where I got a lot of course animal fur. Our potion went away, so we better put that back on because obviously you want to be getting the most XP that you can while you're doing this, as it's time consuming, and the less time you have to sit here and grind, probably the better. Unless you don't really mind, then but I know making potions is part of the game too, and it's just part of the experience. So I don't know. Hopefully, those sort of make a bigger difference eventually in the game and have a different kind of impact. I know they already do great things, right? You've got your anti-poison potion and things like that, and more energy and stuff like that. But I guess I was more talking in regards of like, I don't know. I guess I really don't know, but just having a bigger place in the game as a whole. Some of them it's tough too, right? Because you want, I guess there's drinks that give you more energy, right? So you wouldn't necessarily need like the lumberjack potion. It's weird. I guess you could cut more trees because the lumberjack potion, I think, what is it? It just gives you more stamina, right? I think it does. But the lumberjack XP potion gives you more XP. So, do you want to be able to chop more wood without having to stop, or do you want more XP while you're cutting wood? So, I guess it really just pertains to what you're after. But essentially, I'm not sure that was really needed. Maybe I think a better potion would have been something like every time you cut a log, you have a chance to cut an extra log or get extra resources. I think that would have been a lot more useful because then you have to pick and choose. And it's not easy to, I mean, it's not hard to get materials. So it's not like you're like, oh, well, this is the only potion I can get. So I've got to use this one. But I guess at a lower level and you get things like that, it's pretty cool. But I don't think it's that difficult. So, but there might actually be an XP progression where you can't use one or the other until a certain level. But then, I mean, even then, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, you level pretty fast at the low levels, so not sure. But what we need to do is actually head back. We've already filled up our inventory. It happened so fast. I know we got our leggings of lightness on. Let me see what's going on here. Oh, it's because we got all the oak logs. That's all it is. So let's go ahead and bust this open, and then we're going to use our personal storage chest again. But I think this is actually going to really do a lot. I mean, I've already sort of talked about it a lot, so I don't want to get too crazy on it. But expanding the vision in the game and sort of how far out I can see. I've got a really, really good graphics card. So I can see way into the distance. And right now, all I see is trees up there. But once I get rid of those trees, I don't think I'd be able to see up there, but then it's fog, so it's hard to say. Because when I'm in the storm-touched highlands, I can actually see really, really far, especially looking up, or yeah, up to down, sort of like down a mountain range. I can actually see quite a bit. So we'll just have to sort of play around with that and see what kind of differences we see. But I don't know. You know what would have been really cool too is if they sort of added Easter eggs in the game. I think that would have been really cool as well. Like things that people maybe haven't found yet. So you sort of got to look around the game and they're like hidden secrets. So you'd have to sort of sit around, maybe puzzles that hid them, and only players who sort of took a lot of time to figure it out would have been able to experience it and enjoy it. And they could tell other players about it, obviously. But I think that would have been a really cool addition to the game. But it's not too late. I mean, Fell Hollow's coming out, and they could also do that in that game too. So, I mean, not that game, that part of the game, that new area they introduced. So the sky's really the limit. We are probably running out of time here on our video, but you can already see by cutting all these trees how it's shaped the landscape. I mean, it looks cool. It's open. Um, I don't know. I quite like it. This would have been a really good place to build the Titanic. I already built it, but then this building's in the way, so I guess not. Maybe somewhere around here it would have worked. But I really thought it fit well with where I built it because it's by water, so it just sort of made sense. But let's go ahead and cut some more trees. We've got a little bit of time left in us, so let's go ahead and utilize it. We still got to pick up all of our other stuff for Artisan XP, so we are going to do that. We got quite a bit of room in our inventory, and that's good too. It's going to be interesting if I can just cut a ridiculous amount. I don't know that it would change like the actual game's ability to maybe not take as much. I don't know what the computer uses to play the game, whether it's memory. And I've got such a good computer, I don't necessarily have to worry about it. But if I can reduce like little bits of lag or potentially get better graphics out of just not having so much to load into, that would be actually quite cool. I'm not sure though. I'm not sure how all that works, but that's fine. It's not really a big deal. Just sort of something fun to think about and talk about, actually. We've got quite a bit of trees to cut. It just takes forever, and our potion wore off again. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut all these trees down, and then we're going to cut the roots, and we're going to leave it for next time. So at least that way we can clear this area. It's just going to take some time. But luckily we have that time for our daily XP videos. Daily XP grind videos. We're getting a lot of birds' nests, which is good too. I'm really hoping that they give seeds for farming. I know it's a crazy wait, but I don't really need anything inside them anyway, so it's not really a big deal. But having a lot of seeds when farming comes out, that's a really big deal. It's going to allow me to make this gigantic garden. And I don't even know what that's going to look like yet, but if it's something where you sort of can build as many as you want, which I think it will be, obviously it's a beginner level, right? So I'm imagining that you're going to need to use a certain kind of log for the beginner stage garden, like posts or whether garden beds. And then as the different things you want to grow, you're probably going to have different wood to make those planting bins or garden storage things. I can't think of what the name they are, planter beds, whatever. But essentially, I could make a massive amount of planter beds with all the logs that I'm gathering right now. And then if it is, in fact, that you need to be a certain level to sort of make the next tier, we'll have a lot of oak logs as well. And then we'll also have a lot of whatever's next. But we'll have the seeds required, and then we can sort of go and gather the new wood that's introduced in Fell Hollow. And then from there, we can also have a lot of seeds for that as well. We're not sure what that's going to look like, but we like to get a lot of animals. I mean, like, where else would the seeds come from? I was going to say we can kill animals and get seeds, but they're not going to have seeds. So ultimately, I think it's going to be bird's nest and Garu packs and goblin packs. So it just makes sense. But obviously, we have to wait and see. Maybe they're going to introduce a new item in the game, so that way they don't run into that problem where someone's been hoarding all these different resources to try to help them. Just like with prayer. I mean, it's possible that animal bones won't be a part of what you can bury, but I highly doubt that, as you have to level prayer at a low level, right? And you're going to be in these areas around here. And really, the only thing you can really get bones from at this point are the animal bones, right? So I think it just makes sense. But we are going to head back now. Look at all that coal. It's absolutely ridiculous how much coal is sitting down there. I don't even know how much XP it is, but it's a lot. So let's go ahead and kill this guy. And we've got a deer just hanging out right here. We'll get him. And we'll pick some berries. We'll get this. And then we're going to go inside. But look how different the game looks now that I cut those trees down and they're just gone. So it's like a whole new experience. I am going to pick this flax. I don't currently have a need for it, but it's possible that with Fell Hollow coming to the game, you might need flax for different things. I'm not quite sure, but I'd rather be prepared and have it than not have it and, you know, be needing it. So let's go ahead and put all this stuff away. And then we are going to grab, or not really grab. All we have to do is click it and get an Artisan Potion. And then we're going to pick up all this, and then we're going to do an XP update, and then that's pretty much going to be it for us for today. I think we covered quite a bit, and we got a lot done. We only got 10,000 Artisan XP, so it's not really that much. So let's just drop all this in here. And we're starting to build the mass amounts of different things now. And this is what happened before when we sort of just were hoarding items. Anyway, so let's get into an XP update. 273,000 attack. Didn't work on that really. Wood cutting, 836,988. Very slow progression, but we are progressing. Construction, 2,004,000. Rune crafting, 475,000. Magic, 53,561. Mining, 4,051,000. Artisan, 3,663,000. And cooking, 180,000. So we're definitely making progress in cooking. It just takes a considerable amount of time, but that's quite a bit of XP. So we're quite happy with it. I don't really know when we're going to reach like 300,000. I think that's actually quite a ways away. So maybe we'll try to make like 250,000 before Fell Hollow comes out, the goal. I'm not quite sure. But anyway, guys, we hope you guys are enjoying our content and our daily XP game grinds. I totally said that wrong. I'm just really tired. I just got off work. But anyway, guys, we hope you're enjoying our content. And as always, Legion Nuta out.